Okay, well, let's call the meeting to order and call roll call. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Angel Ortiz.
Present.
Angela Elliott Santos. Angela Elliott Santos. Austin Jones. Bill Gore. Kara Desert. Daphne Watson. Ms. Watson, have you phoned in? If you could unmute. Daphne Watson. Eleanor Evans. Elena Perez.
Present.
Ellen Nash.
Present.
Enrique Morones.
Present.
Estela de los Rios.
Present.
George Corey.
Present.
Gina Roberts.
Present, ma'am.
Griselda Ramirez.
Present, ma'am.
Gwen Sanders.
Present.
Kate Chasen.
Present.
Kate Clark.
Present.
Kenya Taylor.
Present.
Maya Alfonso. Maya Alfonso. Nicole Murray Ramirez. Norma Chavez Peterson.
Present.
Pedro Anaya.
Present.
Rashid Essa.
Present.
Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia. Samuel Choi.
Present.
Shane Harris.
Present.
Summer Steffen. She did let me know she had a potential court conflict. Taha Hassan.
Present.
Tammy Gillies. Tammy Gillies. Vince Catula.
Present.
Warson Arton.
Here.
Thank you. And for those who are attendees who have phoned in, if you could speak up, we know who most of you are. There's a couple phone numbers that we've unmuted so they can identify themselves if they're a commission member. I know Ms. Sanders phoned in. Is Ms. Watson, did you phone in? Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great.
With that, I'd like to next please welcome our San Diego County Clerk of the Board of Supervisors, Andrew Potter, who will be administering the oath to the Commission.
Thank you, Claudia. It's an honor to be here, and I'd like to welcome all of you to the Human Relations Commission, and I'm honored to swear all of you in. So Claudia has the oath before you, and I will be reading the oath in the phrases that are before you to help this go smoothly. So if you could, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I that I will support and defend
That
I will
support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution.
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
And the
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
Foreign
and domestic.
that I bear true faith and allegiance
that
I
you
will
bear
bear
true
true
faith
faith
and
and
allegiance
allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the United
State of California,
State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any
without
mental
any mental
reservation
reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or
or
purpose
purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will
well
and
faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
Great, thank you so much. And Claudia will be sending out a small card that is your oath. And so if you could indicate your name and sign and then return those back to the county, and I will sign those, and that will be your official oath card on record. So congratulations and welcome aboard officially.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clicker the
you.
Board Potter. We really appreciate you here with
Thank
us
you.
this morning.
Happy to be here, thank you.
Thank you. Our next item is public comment. Ms. Alvarez-Negrete, can you confirm whether we had any public speakers? I didn't see any this morning earlier, but if you could confirm.
Yes, good morning. Confirming there's no public comment today.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we are ready to introduce our newest members of the commission to introduce themselves. We have 5 new commission members that were confirmed by the board at their last meeting. Those members are Maya Alfonso, Pedro Anaya, and George Corey, Elena Perez, and Griselda Ramirez. We are ready for them to each introduce themselves. We'll call them in alphabetical order. I don't believe we had Ms. Alfonso, but we'll call her name out once again and start from there. We have for the new commission members some information to include. Feel free about yourself. And if you could spend about 3 minutes or so, we'd appreciate that. Member Alfonso? Doesn't look like she has been able to join us yet. Pedro Anaya.
Buenos dias, good morning. First of all, thank you for the appointment. Really appreciate it and excited to join you all in this work. By day, my profession is I'm a public relations, public affairs specialist with a local public affairs firm here in San Diego. That's what I do. That's what pays the bills, and it's given me some skills in doing the public affairs work, either with government or media and crafting message and all that. But again, that's what pays the bills. That's just the profession I have fallen into. Previous to all of that, my background was in the nonprofit sector, and I spent quite a bit of my career in the nonprofit sector. I got my master's degree from the University of San Diego in the inaugural class of the nonprofit management and leadership program. I often joke that I'm the first graduate of that program simply because I went through the first class and my last name starts with an A. So I take credit for getting the first degree from that university in that particular profession. But I did spend, like I said, most of my career in the nonprofit sector and working for some great organizations like the Jackie Robinson YMCA, the Consensus Organizing Institute, and others. But what I think really ties into the work that we're going to be doing here is I spent about 6 years of my career working for an organization called the National Conference for Christians and Jews, which eventually became the National Conference for Community and Justice. And as many of you may remember here, they did a few things here in San Diego, or organized a few things here in San Diego, including originally founding and running the Martin Luther King All People Breakfast. But what was really close to my heart was the Camp Anytown and Camp Minitown program that did, in my mind, groundbreaking and work with young people around the issues of bias, bigotry, and racism, and how to handle those conversations. Quite frankly, I think it's much needed work that should be brought back at some point, at least for our youth. But that really lit a fire for me for this type of conversations and this type of work. And I've often been looking for a path back to having these conversations, because in the profession I'm in, sometimes that conversation is not there, right? And so this is an opportunity to have those conversations again. I'm a father. I have 2 daughters, so that's why this work is really important to me. I have a daughter who will be turning 13 in a few days, and I have a daughter who is 6, who you might see walk behind me as they distance learn during this period. I'm involved in a variety of things in San Diego. I do have one thing I bring to the table is I do bring a digital newsletter that I've been running for about 20 plus years. About 8,000 community leaders are on that, and let's see, there they go. About 8,000 different community leaders, so it's always a good way to get some input and send out messaging to that. And, I'm looking at the list here. A fun fact about myself, something I'm very proud of, is that for about 25 years, I've been a member of Danza Mexicayo, which is the, I'll say, oldest Chicano Aztec dance troupe in the country, who just celebrated their 40th birthday this year. So I'm a cultural dancer for that group, aside from being on their board as well. But I get to do that with my family, my kids, my wife, and my sister and my nieces. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm very happy to join you guys and looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Claudia, you're muted.
Thank you, everybody. This is Andrew Strong. Claudia is actually having some audio difficulties. So our next member is George Corey. Thank you, Pedro.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Majid Khouri. I was born in Jerusalem, Palestine. I came to the United States in around early 70s, and I had my master's degree at UC Berkeley in engineering, civil environmental. I have about 48 years of experience in construction and engineering, but mostly also in activism and community service. I am presently on the national board of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. I have been with that committee, with the ADC in general, since 1987. I served in many different positions, including a member of the local chapter as well as the president of the local chapter. I'm a professional engineer in the state of California. I used to be also a general contractor, classification A and B. I have my own engineering company at present, which is helping me just a little bit to avoid getting bored while being retired. I have been working with the community since God knows when. Starting when I was in Lebanon. I used to be the vice president of the Palestinian Student Union in Beirut, Lebanon, as well as I was the president of the Arab Student Association at UC Berkeley in 1971, when many of you were not maybe born at that time. I'm married to a wonderful lady. Her name is Haifa. I have 3 children. My eldest, Lena, is a lawyer. My second is Afif, and he is also a lawyer, but at the same time, he has his own company in San Diego that hires about 150 people. It's called Sochi. And then my youngest is a pediatrics dentist, and she has her own business called The Brush Stop in Carlsbad. I have 8 grandchildren, wonderful 8 grandchildren, 7 boys and a girl, ranging from 1 year to 13 years. I have been in the United States, as I told you, since 1971. I've been very active with civil rights organizations, especially the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, whereby many of our community have been designated
born and raised in South Bay, Chula Vista. I attended the University of San Diego and got my business degree through them. I am a retiree of the city of San Diego, where I worked as deputy director for the Department of Finance for 34 years. Recently retired a couple of years ago. And I previously served as the advisor for the Latino Employees Association. I have been a board member and treasurer of Mana de San Diego, and I am currently a board member of Casa Cornelia Law Center. where I also volunteer as an interpreter and translator. Most recently, I served as interim executive director for Mana de San Diego, moving the organization forward during the peak of the COVID pandemic, which was truly quite a learning experience, I'm sure, for all of us. Lots of change and just lots of unknowns, but it was definitely an experience and a rewarding one at that. I became a member of the commission representing Mana de San Diego, and I'm basically looking to bring the Latino vote to this commission to help address and resolve issues of the underrepresented communities. I have 3 daughters, and my daughters are 30, 32, and 37. And, you know, having 3 daughters, 3 women, and 3 Latina women in this day and age, it's challenging. And I want to be a role model for them and help guide them through these times, and, you know, teach them and know that there's so much out there that we can do. I said that when I retired, I wanted to come back and then give back to my community wherever I can. And so this is where now I've become more involved with these organizations, and it's just really been rewarding. So I think sitting on this commission is going to be also another way that I can pay it forward. So it's a pleasure to be here again, and thank you for the appointment.
Thank you, Member Perez. Our next member is Griselda Ramirez.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to be here, and again, and also thank you for the appointment. For the past 5 years, I've been doing nonprofit community organizing work as a director of civic engagement at Mid-City Can, and where I've successfully built a program to educate voters in our community. And so I'm very proud of that work because I've helped create a culture of voters there. I'm very passionate about social justice, electoral organizing, and making sure that you know, the right folks are representing our communities. And so I'm originally from LA, and I've been in San Diego for the past, I'm almost a San Diegan, 12 years now. And so ever since I've been here, I've been doing social justice and electoral organizing, working on several campaigns. And a fun fact about me, I like to travel, and currently I'm learning how to, you know, repot plants. So it's a fun fact about me now. So I'm very excited to be here, and I'm excited to hopefully my experience could help make some decisions that are going to benefit our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ramirez. And one more time, we'd like to call out for Maya Alfonso if she has joined us. Member Maya Alfonso? Then we'll be ready to move on to the next item. And Member Garcia has now joined us. Madam Chair, the next item is agenda item 5. If you're ready for us to continue. And Commissioner Choi just raised his hand.
Yes, let's proceed with item 5, formation of subcommittee and review of interim bylaws and bring forward final bylaws.
Well, I have a quick question before we move forward.
Sure.
Just want to say welcome to all the new commissioners. It's a pleasure to serve with you. And I'm just wondering if there's going to be an update, if not already, on the website of all the bios of the commissioners, and also an update on the demographic breakdown of the commission. Now that we have a full board, it would be great to be able to show the public who we are.
We are in the process of updating the bios. We are awaiting all the bios from our newest members, and then will be updated and uploaded onto the website. And in regards to updating biographical information, if that's the desire of the commission to have that shared publicly, we could receive that direction or put it on the agenda, obtain that information, and pursue that with the agenda, pursue that with the commission at a future agenda.
Would that also include photographs, please?
Yes, when we ask for the bios, we also ask for photographs.
Okay, great. Want the public to see beautiful faces. Okay, can we proceed now with the formation of the subcommittee to review the interim bylaws and bring forward final bylaws?
Thank you, Madam.
Yes, now that we have a full commission, we now need to address and move forward with our completion of our infrastructure so that we can begin our work here in response to public concerns. Claudia, could you explain the process for the formation of the subcommittee?
Yes. Now that the commission has all of its members appointed, as you have noted, Madam Chair, it's appropriate to review the interim bylaws and as they embark also on establishing your duties and responsibilities. We recommended a subcommittee of 5 members experienced in governance be formed to review the bylaws and return to the commission by the December 1st meeting. The subcommittee can be formed by volunteers if you so choose, and if there are more than 5 volunteers who want to undertake the interim bylaws, then the commission could go through the process of the appointment process through nominations.
Great. Okay, can we proceed with the volunteers?
Yes, Madam Chair, would you like me to review the interim bylaws generally for the benefit of the entire commission?
That would be great. Let's start there.
Okay. And Commission Member Roberts is raising her hand.
Oh, okay.
I would love to volunteer, so I just wanted to throw that out early.
So our interim bylaws are based on the Board of Supervisors policy on boards, commissions, and committees, as well as the resolution that established this commission and is divided into 7 articles. The first part being purpose and authority, membership and term of service, duties and responsibilities, its officers, subcommittees, meetings, and the additional general provisions. As you're aware, the commission was established by a resolution who stated the purpose of the commission is to promote the positive human relations, respect, and the integrity of every individual, regardless of gender, religion, culture, ethnicity, sexual orientation, age, or citizenship. The commission is nonpartisan and non-sectarian and is advisory to the CAO and Board of Supervisor. In Article 2 of the interim bylaws, it explains that we do have 31 voting members as established by the resolution and the breakdown of those members. What's interesting to note of those is the terms for any of the seats are dependent on how the member was nominated. Those that were nominated by Board of Supervisors serve concurrent with the Board of Supervisors. Commission nominees serve 2-year terms, so our 7 commission nominees would serve 2-year terms. And the organizations that designated seats serve at the pleasure of the organization, which is an indefinite term. In addition, the bylaws also address how vacancies can occur on the commission. It could be whether it's through death, resignation, or removal by the nominating authority, if they move outside of the county and are no longer a resident or are absent for more than 1/3 of the regularly scheduled meetings within 12 months or 3 regular consecutive meetings. Article 3 of the interim bylaws indicates that the duties and responsibilities, as you see on the agenda, the later agenda item, we have the discussion of duties and responsibilities. They're required to be completed within 90 days that the full commission is appointed. Article 4 addresses the officers and the selection of chairs and vice chairs, that they need to be annually selected, that they adopt the rules and regulations for the conduct of business, that the chair provides supervisory guidance to the commission and presides over meetings and is the sole official spokesperson of the commission. Article 5 addresses subcommittees and that the commission can appoint subcommittees to carry out its duties. There must be at least 3 members of the committee itself as part of a subcommittee. And importantly, the actions of the subcommittees are not binding on the commission itself. And all meetings of the subcommittees, whether they're ad hoc or standing, are open to the public. The meetings themselves are subject to Robert's Rules of Order. The commission can adopt their own rules to govern meetings. For example, there are Rosenberg's Rules of Order that were also tailored towards local government and boards, commissions, and committees. But the bylaws currently require Robert's Rules of Order. The bylaws also do not allow for any proxy or absentee voting permitted. It is subject to the Brown Act. And importantly, the majority of the members appointed constitute a quorum, and a majority of the members appointed must vote to carry a motion. And that is also in the resolution establishing the commission. The commission adopts minutes and a regular meeting schedule. The general additional provisions allow for volunteers to assist, that the commission serves without compensation. Importantly, there's ethics training required within 6 months of appointment. So we will, as you've just had your code, conflict of interest code also adopted by the board, you will be submitting your Form 700s, which are those statements of economic interest. And in addition, we'll be sending you the links for both the Form 700 and for the ethics training so that you can take that ethics training, which is a 2-hour training, and submit the certificate to staff. The commission may apply for grants, donations, or other funding with board approval and amend their bylaws as needed upon a majority vote and approval of the Board of Supervisors. And lastly, any statements or action by a commission member in the name of the commission must be specifically authorized by the commission. In reviewing the interim bylaws and some areas that commission members have asked about or questioned, we would suggest certain areas that a subcommittee may want to review. It's not the exclusive areas, but just our suggestions at this point. We would suggest that the area focus look at absences, differentiating between those that are excused and unexcused in the process for that. Incorporating the rules of order, which could also include the protocol for matters raised at public comment and how those are handled. Decorum at meetings, the process for nominating the chair and the vice chair, and the process for appointments to subcommittees. Currently, while those are required to be, while subcommittees are allowed and there's an annual election of chair and vice chair, the actual process for those nominations and appointments is not delineated in the bylaws and could be something that could be elaborated or discussed specifically in the final bylaws. So today, what we are asking for is that the commission form a subcommittee and appoint its 5 members. And with that, Madam Chair, we turn it over to you. And if there are any volunteers for the subcommittee, if we can get 5.
I would like to volunteer. Eleanor Evans.
I'll volunteer.
I'll volunteer.
I will volunteer. My name is George Corey.
Estela de los Rios.
So could we get people to hit the raised hand function so that we can take the names down? And if I'll try to read names, I believe Gina Roberts at the top of the item. Elena Perez also volunteered. Eleanor Evans. George Corey.
Estela de los
Vince
Rios.
Catula. Estela de los Rios. And that's 7. Is that 7 or 5? Okay. Samuel Choi. Okay. So it looks like we have 7 names. Okay. Yeah, we're going to read the names one more time for the full names. Eleanor Evans, Elena Perez, Gina Roberts, George Corey, Vince Catula, Estela de los Rios, and Sam Choi, for a total of 7. And I see Gina Roberts' hand is raised. Oh, is that an old raised hand? So did we miss anybody who wanted to volunteer for undertaking the governance matters related to doing the interim bylaws? I see Estela de los Rios' hand is raised.
Oh, no, that was raised when you asked us to raise our hands. Sorry about that.
No problem, thank you. So we do have 7 participants, 7 volunteers. If all 7, Madam Chair, it is, you can allow up to 7, or if 2 want to drop off, we would, just for purposes of timing, this subcommittee would meet concurrently and we would meet outside of commission meetings, and they would be looking at the bylaws and bringing back all the recommendations at the December 1 meeting. And they would be open, these meetings would be open to the public, subject to the Brown Act.
Great, I think that's a great group.
So, Madam Chair, then 7 members for the commission?
Absolutely.
Subcommittee, excuse me, 7 members for the subcommittee. And you got those names, Andrew? Okay.
Perfect, perfect.
So can we do a motion for those 7 members to be appointed to the subcommittee to review the bylaws and bring back final bylaw recommendations to the commission.
I'll make the motion, Enrique Morones.
I will
Mr.
second
Morones?
the motion. George Corey.
Mr. Corey?
All right. Any discussion?
Okay, then we'll take the vote. Angel Ortiz?
Yes.
Did Angeles Elliott Santos join us or no? Okay. Eleanor Evans?
Yes.
Elena Perez?
Yes.
Ellen Nash?
Yes.
Enrique Morones?
Yes.
Estela de los Rios?
Yes.
George Corey?
Yes.
Gina Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
Griselda Ramirez?
Yes.
Gwen Sanders?
Yes.
Kate Chasen?
Yes.
Kate Clark?
Yes.
Kenya Taylor?
Yes.
Norma Chavez Peterson?
Yes.
Pedro Anaya?
Yes.
Rashid Essa?
Yes.
Ryan Garcia?
Yes.
Samuel Choi?
Yes.
Shane Harris? Shane Harris? Taha Hassan?
Yes.
Vince Catula?
Yes.
Warsan Arton?
Yes.
And we did have a few members who had not responded to roll call earlier. Just want to confirm that they are not currently on the line. Angela Elliott Santos, Austin Jones, Bill Gore, Kara Desert, Daphne Watson, okay. Maya Alfonso, Nicole Murray Ramirez would be out. Tammy Gillies, I believe you just
Yes.
joined us. Summer Steffen, Shane Harris.
Yes. Yes.
Was that Shane Harris?
Did you get my vote, Claudia?
Yeah, we just got it.
Okay.
That motion carries with, I believe, 23 members voting. Recorded 1, 2, 3, 10. All members voting yes.
Thank you so much for volunteering. Appreciate
Okay,
that.
so we'll be reaching out to that subcommittee so they can start scheduling their meetings.
Great.
The next item, Madam Chair, is item 6.
Okay. Overview of human relations. Oh, yes, this is interesting. Organizations and former San Diego County HRC and other San Diego County boards. Right, this provides us some history and context in terms of what is currently happening and what has happened in the past. So this is really good information. Thank you for doing this research, Claudia, and your staff.
It was a team effort for sure. So what we looked at was the original resolution had identified about 10 different human relations commissions. And in today's presentation, we're going to give you an overview of 5 of the most established, one of which is the local, the City of San Diego Human Relations Commission. So we'll go ahead and start with the County of Alameda's Human Relations Commission, which was established in 1964 and has 16 members, 3 appointed by each supervisor and 1 by a mayor's conference. Their duties generally are to advise the board on community issues, including around education, employment, and public safety, and they do have the power to conduct studies on current intergroup conditions, providing recommendations for volatile situations, and promoting long-term solutions to promote acceptance of diversity. They do have a few standing subcommittees, a budget ad hoc committee, community engagement, and social media and marketing. And their activities have included a Human Relations Commission Excellence Award and a statement on gun violence. And I do note that they were established in 1964. The County of Los Angeles Commission on Human Relations is the oldest human relations commission in the United States, established in 1944. It is an advisory body of 15 members appointed by 3 members by each supervisor. They are unique that they are an independent entity. Their duties include promoting positive human relations, developing programs to proactively address commission issues. They partner with law enforcement, schools and cities, community-based organizations, youth, academics, policymakers, businesses, and other leaders in their endeavors. And their various programs include promoting youth human relations leadership, increasing fairness and equity in the criminal justice systems, strengthening effective hate crime prevention and response, and improving the organizational effectiveness of their commission. Their activities have included various public statements and publications, an equity initiative, a dispute resolution program, human relations awards, the Network Against Crime, Hate Crime, and Policing and Human Relations Initiative. And one of their more recent activities and promotions is LA Against Hate, which they've partnered with 211 to track reporting of racial incidences that may not rise to a hate crime, but are incidences that they're tracking. The Santa Clara Human Relations Commission was formed in 1972 and is 15 members, with each supervisor appointing 3. It is also advisory to the Board of Supervisors, and their duties include advocating for and taking positive actions to eliminate prejudice and discrimination, advise the board on issues that affect human and civil rights of all county residents. These are obviously summarized. Their subcommittees include an executive committee, a justice review committee, social equity committee, and the resource development and outreach committee. They've undertaken various activities such as a Tale of Two Valleys, a public forum for family and friends on inmates, and another public forum on immigration and immigrant voices. The San Francisco Human Rights Commission was established in 1963 as an independent agency of 11 members who are appointed by the mayor. Their duties include developing policy and acting as a liaison between the commission, the community, the mayor, and the Board of Supervisors. The subcommittees include Equity Advisory Committee, the LGBT Advisory Committee, and Equal Pay Advisory Board. And their policies have included engineering for equity, LGBT initiatives, fair policing ordinances, African American Community Empowerment Initiative, post 9/11 surveillance, and it looks like it is covered by the PowerPoint by the symbol. The post 11/9 surveillance and profiling of Amensa communities. The activities include reports and research of investigations, submitting resolutions and letters of support, compiling budget and performance data, and publishing newsletters. The City of San Diego also has a Human Relations Commission that was formed in 1991 of 17 members. 8 members appointed by the mayor and 9 members from each of the city council districts. It also is an advisory body to the mayor, city council, and what used to be the city manager, the chief operations. And their duties include advising on methods to inform residents of developments in human relation, providing advice and assistance to the city, and recommending the use of mediation and/or conciliation to eliminate allegations of unfair or discriminatory practices. Their subcommittees have included refugee and immigrant rights, access to basic needs, civil rights and equal protection, and then they've held awards and ceremonies. And their activities do include reports, stopping hate crimes and incidences, fighting homelessness, 2016, the Regional Restorative Justice and Restorative Practices Summit, and their annual awards for human relations. The commission had asked for information related to the former San Diego County Human Relations Commission. So we looked in and researched the former iteration. It was established in 1985 and composed of 15 members, 3 appointed by each supervisor. Similar to the current commission, the former commission appointed members that reflected the comprehensive representation of age, socioeconomic status, ethnic background, and geographical distribution, and considered the commissioner's knowledge and awareness of the problems and causes of intergroup tension and conflict. And prospective members were to have demonstrated commitment to fostering better human relations within the county. The former commission was active a little over a decade. While being established in 1985, it was active until the late 1990s. Based on the resolution dissolving the commission had stopped meeting by the end of the 90s due to a reported lack of public interest and involvement. In addition, the resolution of dissolution indicated there were other entities and organizations that had been established to promote the original goals of the commission. The commission was formally dissolved in 2018. The duties of the former commission were to promote and foster mutual respect and understanding among all groups and communities within the county, to examine causes of tension and conflicts, discrimination and intolerance between various groups, and either one, make recommendations on how to alleviate such conditions, practices, or attitudes, or two, recognize issues which may be beyond the scope of county government and the commission's charge. In addition, their duties were to conduct workshops, conferences, and other public meetings to educate community on basic human rights and responsibilities and assist in the resolution of group tensions. The commission was to enlist the cooperation and participation of various community organizations to foster mutual esteem, justice, and equity, and the dignity and integrity of every individual. That commission was to provide as a liaison and assistance to groups interested in fostering intergroup understanding and civil peace. It was also to cooperate with county departments and committees in identifying and ameliorating human relations problems. And it did prepare and submit an annual work plan for its on an annual basis, as well as highlighting what they had completed. We could not find or locate any information specific to whether or not they had any standing subcommittees or particular projects that they had undertaken. In addition, some of the commission had expressed an interest in knowing what other county boards, commissions, and committees are currently existing that may touch on various groups of interest. Overall, there's approximately 103 boards, commissions, and committees in the county. Many of those are community planning or sponsor groups related to land use planning matters in the unincorporated areas. In addition, there are numerous special districts formed for special purposes, such as, for example, cemeteries. Staff looked at all of the boards, commissions, and committees, and we provided that list of all of them as part of the agenda packet. In addition, we provided a summary of approximately 25 boards, commissions, and committees that may address areas of interest to the commission or address other groups. If you look on the list, and I will go for the benefit of those listening in, we did highlight Aging and Independent Services, Air Pollution Control District Advisory Committee, Behavioral Health Advisory Board, Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board, Child Care and Development Planning Council, the Citizens Law Enforcement Review Board, the City and County Reinvestment Task Force, the Civil Service Commission, Commission on Status of Women and Girls, the Community Action Partnership Administering Board, Emergency Medical Care Committee, the Environmental Health Advisory Board, the First Five Commission, Foster Care Services Committee, Health Services Advisory Board, HIV Planning Group, the Human Trafficking and Commercial Sexual Exploitation of Children, In-Home Supportive Services Advisory Board, Indian Gaming, Local Community Benefit Committee, North County Gang Commission, the Committee for Persons with Disability, the Polinsky Children's Center Advisory Board, San Diego Military and Veterans Advisory Council, and the Social Services Advisory Board. These boards, commissions, and committees advise on a variety of areas such as children, family, early childhood education, health, military and veterans affairs, law enforcement oversight, women and girls, aging and the elderly, individuals with disabilities, and human trafficking. We are providing this information so that as you develop your duties and responsibilities, you are aware of what areas other boards, commissions, and committees advise and are active on. That concludes the presentation on this agenda item, and we're open for questions. There's no action requested for this particular item.
Claudia, I have a question.
Sure.
So what was the original, you spoke to the discontinuance of the San Diego County Human Relations? And
yes.
Can you just clarify or again, why was it discontinued?
Based on the documentation we located through the clerk of the board and the resolution that was dissolving, the action to dissolve the commission, it had indicated that there was, at the time, in the late 1990s, they had stopped meeting due to a lack of public interest and involvement. And it also indicated that other entities and organizations had been established to promote the original goals of the commission. We didn't find additional information regarding the dissolution other than what was in the public record.
Okay.
We do have 2 hands raised. One is Vince Catula and then Samuel Choi.
Hi, this is Vince. Were there any measurable results that you or staff were able to find? You know, the HRC in LA has been established for quite a long time, and I'm curious to know if they were able to achieve and track any sort of goals or achievements behind the purpose of the HRC.
We did look for our former County Human Relations Commission reports. We did not find or locate them. So we're not able to provide any substantive information in that regard. Other commissions do provide reports, periodic, whether they're annual or otherwise, and those are all available online also.
Thank you.
And I believe Member Choi?
Yes. Claudia, thank you so much for doing this research, and thank you to your team for doing this research as well. In your response to Chair Nash, you mentioned that some of the work after the County Human Relations Commission was dissolved was also taken on by other commissions that sprung up over time. Is there any more information you can share in regards to how the other existing county commissions have addressed questions of human relations? So I'm looking at, for example, the Women's and Girls Commission. There's an equity one, I think. Child and family strengthening. Those are all, you know, intersectional issues to human relations. And then I have a couple of suggestions. Should I hold those for a further discussion later, or can I bring those?
We are going to have the next agenda item is the discussion of duties and responsibilities. So if your suggestions are related to that, I would suggest you hold for that agenda item.
Okay, so I'll hold and just ask that.
And in regards to the other items on the other boards, commissions, and committees, some of those commissions do have reports that are available online. Commission on Status of Women and Girls do have a lot of information on their website. The Child, Family, and Strengthening, I believe we may have some members on our commission that are also part of that advisory board. I don't have that information before me. And lastly, I believe in the other one you mentioned, I can't remember the name, I don't have specific information, but we could follow up if the commission would like some additional information.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the spirit of that is just to make sure, especially as we form subcommittees, that we don't reinvent the wheel and we build on the work that's already been done in other commissions, and also try to identify strategic areas to work on. Thank you.
Claudia, this is Enrique. I don't know if you could see that my hand's also raised. Enrique Morones. I have a on the commissions, when you were talking about the disbanding of the county and not knowing what had happened, we have a current member on our commission, which was a member of that, and he's also on the city commission, but I don't think he's on right now, Nicole Marie Ramirez. So you might ask Nicole if he knows why, if the committees had reports and so forth. And then the other comment is, I don't know if you had on the list of commissions, a commission that many of us that are in this group are involved with, which is the Anti-Hate Coalition. And, you know, really extremely important right now with everything that's going on, because we do have, you know, regular meetings and so forth. And one of the persons that called in the last couple of public comments, Michelle McCurdy, brought up a very big issue that is getting more difficult every day, and those are the attacks and so forth with what has happened with East County defenders, etc. I was also encountered an attack just this past week, and that was as the P. Wilson statue was taken down when we were there. You know, somebody did accost me, and I'm dealing with law enforcement on that. So I wanted to find out, is the Anti-Hate Commission or Committee also listed in these committees? And then last but not least, there's a really great one that I've worked with in the past, and you did a great job, by the way, you and your team, on these commissions that you listed. There's a really great one in Oregon that we might want to look at. They've been very active and they've been around for quite a while. I'll see if I can find which city it was in. But when I've been up there, I've met with them and they're amazing, just like these other ones are. So we might also look outside of San Diego and California for good examples of commission.
So in regards to the Anti-Hate Coalition, what we provided summaries on in the attachment of the boards, commissions, and committees were only those that were established by the county. We did also in your package, in the agenda packet, also reference the California Association of Human Relations Organizations that includes nonprofit human relations organizations. But certainly as the commission undertakes its duties and responsibilities discussion, to the extent it wants to look at or at other commissions or organizations, even in other locations, they can look at those commissions, and we can obtain further information of the local ones. The ones we did focus on were the ones that are in California that were longstanding and raised and also included in the resolution as examples when the commission was reestablished. I do note we have Pedro Anaya with his hand raised, and then following that, Shane Harris and Elena Perez after that.
Thank you. I just thank you for the update on the history.
Oh wait, we're unmuting Mr. Anaya.
Okay,
There
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
I just was saying thank you for the update on the history of the commission and kind of the related items. I did want to point out something more for like the here and now, something for us to consider or look at as we're in these, COVID times. There's been a lot of recent discussion on equity indicators around COVID and how that affects our numbers and what's the disparities between different communities and all that. That's something that I think we should just keep an eye on and monitor. I don't know exactly how it all folds into this, but I think it's something for us to, that's very timely and that we should not lose sight of, especially as decisions are being made into some of our most vulnerable communities. So I just wanted to point that out that, because I didn't see anything related to that in any of the current commissions or conversations. So I just wanted to throw that out there to consider. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Harris?
Yes, thank you, Claudia, for and our staff for a great, well put together presentation. This was one of the first things that I called for when I was appointed to the commission. And the reason why was because I felt that diversity and having an expanded view and understanding, as well as studying best practices, is the best way to approach solving, solving the issues of our society. And I think certainly on the Child and Family Board, San Diego Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board is the county's overseeing board over child welfare services, and I'm happy to also sit on that commission. I'd be happy, Claudia, to help you retrieve a report on what the Child and Family Strengthening Advisory Board. It's only been in existence a year. It also is the only board and commission on the county that is co-chaired by two supervisors. Nathan Fletcher and Greg Cox both co-chair the Child and Family Advisory Board. So I'd be happy to help present a report. We have a meeting coming up, so I'd be happy to actually, I think we need to put a report together. And but I'd happy to see what we have currently and get that over to you. I had another question, but I can't remember it. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, thank you, Member Harris, and we look forward to receiving whatever information you're able to share with us. I believe our next speaker was Commission Member Norma Chavez-Peterson.
Thank you, Claudia, and thank you for the information. I'll just let the commissioners know that I'm going to have to step out in about 2 minutes. I let staff know, but my kind of question and comment was going to be a couple of things. Number one, just for everyone to know, there is a regional COVID-19 task force that was set up that's specifically dealing with issues of equity and the implications of COVID. So that's happening. So that's not an official, it's a task force that we should be mindful of and keep in mind. One thing that I'm interested in, maybe I don't have, we don't have time to discuss today, besides this kind of asset mapping and looking at the best practices, like I'd be curious to know kind of what our process is going to be in terms of this commission, and obviously probably virtually, but like at what point do we engage in a planning process that includes like real asset mapping of our own region, in terms of what organizations are in place, not just commissions, but what are the issues and what are the things that we are going to prioritize? Because I do think, we can have these meetings, but but hopefully we can have some type of visioning and planning process. I know that there had been some consultants that were going to be sought for that. So I'm not sure kind of what the update is on that. And I'd be curious to know what the thinking is from staff around what the process for that or timing for that would be.
Thank you, Member Travis Peterson. In regards to the commission mapping out or basically undertaking its strategic planning and inventory of countywide, as you described, assets in various issues, our recommendation is to undertake that planning after the duties and its responsibilities have been established by the commission, because once the duties and responsibilities are established, that sets the breadth of and the parameters of what the commission will be undertaking, and thereafter provides the platform and the foundation, both the platform and the foundation of undertaking its strategic planning. The strategic planning can occur outside of the meetings, such as at a retreat. It would be open to the public, but would provide a focused time frame and to undertake that discussion and brainstorming and planning. We would suggest, like I said, that be done on the heels of the duties and responsibilities being approved.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff? Elena Perez?
Yes, thank you for that information. That was great. I mean, especially for me, who's as a new member, great information on the commissions. But so my question is, just out of curiosity, so it looks like the previous HRC was established in '85 and then kind of dissolved sometime in the early '90s. So how is it that we went about reestablishing it, or who decided that we needed to reestablish? Just out of curiosity for me. Thank you.
So in this spring, in May, I'm drawing a blank on the specific date, but on the heels of some incidences that happened locally, the Board of Supervisors, Nathan Fletcher, brought forward a request, a board letter to establish the commission, and that was adopted unanimously by the board at their meeting. So that happened this past spring, and it was on the heels of a number of incidences that happened locally, and then we had the backdrop of what was also happening nationally.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, if there are no other questions, we're ready to move on to the next agenda item.
Great. I actually have a question kind of related to Elena and my previous question. How can we ensure, I guess I'm always concerned about sustainability. And I was really a little unnerved by the fact that this important commission was dissolved. I don't know how that process occurred, but going forward, is that something that can be included in the bylaws or as a procedure?
Well, boards, commissions, and committees are established by the Board of Supervisors. Okay. And in regards to this particular commission, once its duties and its responsibilities are established, what it brings forward and how it undertakes its duties will be I think a big indicator. The prior commission, it appeared based on the record, had a lack of public interest and participation. So if that was a large motivating reason for its dissolution, then it would by logic seem to be that if there's continued public participation and involvement and interest, that those needs would be continued those needs would be a continuing need to be heard in the county.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and we have Kenya Taylor as the next speaker, and then Tammy Gillies.
Yes. Before the previous commission was dissolved, I noticed that you mentioned, Claudia, income level, socioeconomic status was mentioned. With the new resolution, I guess that wording's not there now. I knew I had seen it somewhere. I had mentioned it before, but it's important when we think about trauma and behavioral health issues that we really think about the impacts of trauma and how that impacts people's day-to-day life. So with all our subcommittees, that's something we could really evaluate and take under consideration when we think about the impacts of trauma and finances, especially in the time of COVID. Thank you.
And so, Member Taylor, the reference to socioeconomic is contained in the current resolution that established the current Human Relations Commission.
Okay, on the website, it's not there, but.
It's in the resolution in talking about the representation.
Okay, also when we were going through the process in the past, our commissioners, that was something that, let me start over. Let me just say, going forward, I just hope that when we are agreeing on things, we look a little bit further in diverse economics that are there. A number of us may have college backgrounds. Not everybody has that. And so sometimes when we're planning and figuring out solutions for success for our community members, it's important for us to look at financial impacts because that also leads to disparities.
Thank you, Member Taylor. And certainly that is something the Commission, as it's discussing its duties and responsibilities, can continue to keep as part of their focus. Next is Tammy Gillies.
Hi, thank you. Further to what Enrique was mentioning, I wonder if we could take a few minutes at our next meeting or a future meeting to hear from Commissioner Murray Ramirez, who could give us just a little bit of background about the history of this commission, and maybe that would help us to do even better going forward.
I will reach out to him and see what information he's able to provide and share, and if that's the Commission's desire to hear him. We're going, as you'll see on our next agenda item, we do have a timeline proposed for the discussion of duties and responsibilities over a number of meetings. So there will be opportunity for Member Murray Ramirez to also share his insights.
Great, thank you.
Experience. And Member Harris.
Yes, thank you. One of the other things in context of what Member Gillies was mentioning in regard to Nicole Murray Ramirez, I would suggest actually getting a broader coalition of former Human Relations Commission members, and Nicole could be included in that. And I think bringing different perspectives to the table is always important. So it might be good to survey and see what members of that Human Relations Commission are still around. See if we can get them to come by on Zoom and talk about their experience. I also would suggest the great former supervisor of District 4, Leon Williams, to be a guest speaker here to talk about his experience as one of the overseeing supervisors of that time, who could probably bring a lot of context as to what was happening at that time. So that might be a way that we can collect some record and perspective, even though there's not a lot on the books. That could be a way to gather that information. The other thing I wanted to also say is that I'm assuming that one of the things that could be or could have been an issue at that time had been that there were, several civil rights and social justice issues happening, human relations issues. And what could have been one of the issues that could have occurred was that, people ultimately started to depend on the institutions in their communities that they felt took immediate action and represented their interest. And I think that, you know, sometimes with a big group like this, of different minds and thoughts and backgrounds, progress gets stalled up. So it might be you know, good to be aware that people start depending less on a commission. Well, they depend on their own movement anyway. But you know, if they feel like this commission is not taking action or not really you know, helping to organize a path forward, they stop appearing, and then ultimately they turn to other ways and means to get their voice heard. And I think remembering that we are just a commission on the county level, but there's so many other channels that we need to be looped into, and being a partner with our community, which is one of my suggestions of even when we start having physical meetings, that we look for targeted communities that we could actually go into, and that we could hold meetings in the grassroots effort of our communities across the county. So yeah, those are just things to think about. People become less dependent on a commission at all if they feel like it's worthless and not really accomplishing anything. They'll just stop coming. And I think finding ways for us to plug into movements that are already going can be a way to connect with the community and make the community feel like we also are there to listen to them too.
Thank you, Member Harris. I don't believe there's any other hands raised. Madam Chair, if you're ready for us to move on to the next agenda item, we can do so.
Yes, this doesn't require, this was informational, correct?
Correct. This is informational and foundational actually for the next item.
Great. All right, let's move on to the next item.
Thank you. The next item is agenda item 7, the discussion of duties and responsibilities. As highlighted in the earlier presentation, the Commission has 90 days to create its duties and responsibilities once the full Commission has been appointed. That 90 days begins from October 13th, when our last 5 members were confirmed by the Board of Supervisors. Given the number of meetings the Commission has between now and the end of the year, and when the Board of Supervisors meets in January, staff has proposed a timeline for your consideration. We are looking at the above timeline, providing today and the November 10th meeting as brainstorming, an opportunity for the Commission to brainstorm all of its ideas regarding duties and responsibilities. Thereafter, the following 2 meetings would be discussion and drafting of the specific duties and responsibilities, with refinement occurring at the December 1 meeting. So that December 15th, those duties and responsibilities can be finalized and voted upon by the Commission and forwarded to the Board of Supervisors for approval at their January 12th, 2021 meeting. In addition to the duties and responsibilities during this time frame, the Commission will also be working with a consultant in the development of the mission statement for the Human Relations Commission for the mission statement for the Office of Equity and Racial Justice that the Human Relations Commission weighed in on for the statement of work. We anticipate the consultant will first meet with the Commission sometime in November. So concurrently with its duties and responsibilities, you do have the development of the Office of Equity and Racial Justice mission statement, and there may be other presentations the Commission may want as part of its duties and responsibilities development, or also for knowledge base. In effort to assist the Commission in kicking off its brainstorming, in reviewing the prior Human Relations Commission's duties, as well as the duties and functions of other Human Relations Commissions, staff has listed some suggested duties and responsibilities for the Commission's consideration to get the conversation started. Thereafter, what we're asking for the Commission to do is to undertake and start its brainstorming, and what we would ask is people do that by raising hands, and we'll call on you as in an orderly possible fashion as possible. And we would suggest, for purposes of today in the brainstorming, that this be really an idea, throwing out ideas of what you'd like to see the duties and responsibilities be for the Commission. What is important to note, because Member Chavez Peterson already referenced planning and strategic planning, the duties and responsibilities set the outside parameters and are broader in nature. The strategic planning sets forth the more specific goals. So we would say, let's stay focused on duties and responsibilities so that that the commission, as it's mentioned many times, can get to the work that it would like to do. So some of our suggestions for today's brainstorming are advise the Board of Supervisors and CAO on human relations issues, promote positive human relations and mutual respect and understanding among all groups and communities within the county, listen to community concerns regarding human relations, examine the causes of tension, conflict, discrimination, and intolerance between various groups, provide recommendations to alleviate such conditions, practices, and attitudes, and foster mutual esteem, justice, equity, and dignity of every individual. Conduct workshops, conferences, and other public meetings to educate the county community on basic human rights and responsibilities and assist in the constructive resolution of group tensions. Engage in research and education for the purpose of lessening prejudice, including the preparation and dissemination of information on understanding diverse groups. Provide liaison and assistance to community groups interested in fostering intergroup understanding and civil peace. And work with the county departments and committees in identifying and ameliorating human relations issues. With that, Madam Chair, we would suggest opening the discussion to some brainstorming ideas. We will take notes as quickly as possible. The first hand up is Member Choi.
Yes, thank you. Picking up on earlier conversation and just looking at one big difference I see from our commission and the other jurisdictions is that we have a large group. And so I think we have a lot of potential to have really well-functioning subcommittees that can really do some good work and dig deep into various issues. So that's my first point. And then secondly, I want to put forth the idea of having this commission either as the full commission or a initiative to really explore the idea of truth and reconciliation, which is obviously modeled in South Africa, but there has been efforts in recent months in the wake of all the racial tension in America, where a lot of cities have established truth and reconciliation commissions, essentially. And I think that's a really good fit for us. And even though I see the timeline, and especially in hiring a consultant, and I'm in the source selection committee, and we're really close to, evaluating all the different applicants. But we know we're heading into some turbulent times politically around the country and locally. Potentially after the election, there might be some real tension in our community. And I'm wondering what is the best approach, both in terms of responding to what might happen, and then in the long run, having something like a truth and reconciliation process whereby a commission like this will really dig deep into restorative justice practices and really healing the community. It's something that I think it's a really good fit functionally for this commission. So I just want to raise that as one potential either initiative or subcommittee to explore.
Thank you. Do we have any other hands up at the moment?
This is Enrique. I have my hand up. May I speak?
Yes, and just for the rest of the commission, if you could use the raise hand function so that we can easily identify whose hands are raised. It'll show up on our screens that way. Thank you. Mr. Morones?
Yeah, I don't have that function available, sorry. So one thing I wanted to be clear on, I don't know if I understood it correctly. I think it's so important that the commission start acting now, and it sounded like you were saying, maybe I misunderstood, that it would be 90 days or something like that. But there's no doubt that Mr. Choi was mentioning that maybe or probably, there's no doubt that there's going to be a lot of issues coming up on November 4th, the day after the election. There's absolutely no doubt. And I think that this commission really needs to start acting on things right now. And I don't know if I misunderstood about the 90 days, because by 90 days, 7 of the members of the commission, at least if I heard correctly, will no longer be on the commission because the terms of the supervisors, some supervisors will be over, and thus those commissioners will no longer be there. So we start the process again, getting new people, the equity issue. So I could just see this being prolonged. So my statement is in reference to a sense of urgency, and that maybe by the next meeting, we could actually have some action steps. Is that allowed? Or did I misunderstand the 90-day issue? Thank you.
The 90-day issue is that within 90 days of the full commission having been appointed and confirmed by the Board of Supervisors, the duties and responsibilities need to be established. The duties and responsibilities set forth the groundwork on the scope of what this commission can undertake, what actions it can do, and what activities. It sets those parameters. It does not need to take the full 90 days. It's that's the deadline to have that occur within. So if this commission is able to come to consensus and adoption of its duties and responsibilities to be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors sooner, that certainly could happen. It is up to this commission.
And then 7 people will no longer be on the commission, so we'll be replacing. I could just see that being prolonged. Just wanted to comment.
The change, the turnover or variations in commission members over time does not affect the timeline of the 90 days because we now have that 90-day, that full commission has now been appointed. We have a commission of 31. Now that that's occurred, the time starts ticking. So it shouldn't, so whether there is change in the future should not delay the current undertaking.
But there definitely will be change because of the supervisors. Supervisors' term ends, so those commissioners end. So there'll be change there.
Yes, but to the extent, I think the question was whether that could affect the 90 days, and it doesn't. Commission Member Roberts had her hand up. Commission Member Roberts.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to find my mouse pointer here. Okay, so as one of those people that could be affected on the results of the election, I understand what Enrique is saying. However, it doesn't change the fact that we need to establish the duties and things. And it also doesn't stop us from doing some work up front, maybe start doing some, if we agree that it's something that commission members should do, is to intercede or provide a sounding board for some of these issues where there's some conflict going on. So, I mean, it was interesting because I was going to say this about something similar to what Enrique was saying about pulling forward some actions, and do that concurrently with establishing duties and responsibilities. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about that.
Commission Member Nash or Chair Nash.
Yes, I agree with the urgency of this commission responding in some manner via a press conference or something in regards to the anticipation of hate and challenges before and after this election. So I don't see the need to hold up for 90 days. Just on the record, I think that we should do something in response to the anticipation of some of this hatefulness that is occurring. I personally am experiencing it. Some of it indirect and some of it directly. So I feel the onset, and I think if, as a commission, if we get out in front of it, I'm sure some of you are probably being approached by friends, family members, members of some of your organizations, so, when is the commission going to do something? So I think in a way that it is important for us to respond, even if it's with a press conference or something.
I would also
Claudia?
We had Commission Member Perez with her hand raised.
Yes, I guess I think we're all saying the same thing, but piggybacking on Enrique's comments, yeah, I am very much for, educating the community, workshops, conferences, and I too just wanted to clarify that we weren't going to have to wait 90 days, and that we can maybe put out a, press release or do a workshop or a conference or something that we can start, reinforcing, emphasizing certain things that we feel are important now. So I just wanted to clarify that because I am in agreement with what everybody else is saying. I think the 90 days, it sounded like we had to wait and then establish those duties and responsibilities before we could move forward. And I don't see a reason why we couldn't set up, some sort of, conference or workshop, because education is important. And I do also agree that November 5th, everything's going to hit the fan. All kinds of things are going to come down. And I think we should definitely, if we can, and we should try, get ahead of that curve. Thank you.
Putting that we have less than 15 days to do that.
Judge Curry, you can also speak. I think you had your hand up.
Your hand up? Shane.
George Curry?
Yes, I agree that there is a really potential, there is the potential of having hate crimes occur after November. And I think we as a team need to be a little bit proactive. And accordingly, I'm going to suggest that we prepare and issue a press release before the elections in anticipation of such hate crimes, and do ask, and I would like to ask the chair to really take the lead in preparing something of this sort and share it with the rest of the team.
Absolutely.
Remembering we don't have a meeting until 7 days after the election. So.
Well, can we make a motion today?
Good morning.
I mean, let's make a motion that a press release be prepared and issued.
This is Andrew Strong. I want to bring in our county counsel. She wants to interject on what we can do legally around this topic. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Rachel Witt. I'm with the Office of County Counsel. I appreciate everything that everybody is saying. I just wanted to let you know that because you are a Brown Act body, any action that this commission takes has to be agendized on a properly noticed meeting, which requires at least 72 hours. And so no action can be taken today. And with regard to the ability to start taking actions before you establish the duties and responsibilities, the issues associated with that are due to the fact that your authorizing resolution, which established you, did not put forth any duties and responsibilities. So right now there currently are none. And so in order to have authority, you need to be able to establish those first and have those approved by the Board of Supervisors before any action can be taken. So I understand the frustration, but this is the way that it has been set up. And so we need to follow the protocol that the Board of Supervisors has laid out for you.
Excuse me, does that, I have a question for the council. Does that mean there is no leeway for emergency action?
I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Thank you for your patience. The emergency provisions are for if there's, immediate peril, either to buildings or life. And so unfortunately, we would need to have facts and circumstances to be able to do that. There are provisions for special meetings, which could require 24 hours notice. And so that is certainly an option to do that.
Next in the queue, we have members Harris, Arton, Taylor, Roberts, and then Morones in that order. Member Harris? Did we? Commission Member Harris? You had your hand raised? Okay.
Can you hear me okay, Claudia?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Great. So I totally think that there are some factual basis here that we have been looking at, data that is showing the rise in hate crimes over the course of the years, and lots of other issues that we're concerned about in the context of this election. The racial tension this year, the reason why this commission or was birthed or created or brought back. So I would like to suggest that we call for a special meeting prior to the next San Diego Board of Supervisors meeting to recommend to the Board of Supervisors that the San Diego County Human Relations Commission would like to organize a press conference of some sort to discuss the concerns around safety measures and specifically around the election, that we are a body that is seeking to keep our county unified in spite of whatever the election results are. So I would like to do two things. I would like to suggest that we call for a special meeting. The special meeting would be to discuss possible action that we can take as a commission in regard to the election and the concerns of tension. And in that, I think that in that discussion, we need to discuss potentially what can we do beside a press conference. Claudia, I wanted to ask you, will our Office of Equity and Racial Justice, will we have somebody potentially in that office? Or if we aren't going to have, if nobody's going to be in that office yet, obviously there's no director hired. Is it possible, Claudia, that that there can be a staff appointed, sort of a ways and means for the public to communicate with, a hotline or something for the public to obviously our meeting is here and we're available in that way. But I think that we need to have something aside from just our meeting and the idea that we're just doing a press conference to call for peace and unity and all those things, or whatever we would be calling for or bringing attention to. I think that there needs to be a plan to circumvent. So I would ask that we call for a special meeting prior to the next Board of Supervisors meeting and the election. And I believe that there's a Board of Supervisors meeting next Tuesday, if I am correct. Am I correct, Claudia?
Hold 1 second, y'all. Claudia's having a little bit of technical difficulties, but she'll respond.
There we go.
There we
Okay.
go.
I am too, Claudia.
I have a vote. My mute button is floating and disappears every time I try to click on it. I apologize. The meeting is next Tuesday is correct. That would require docketing has closed. To do a late docket, everything would need to be
in by Friday.
But you're asking for a special meeting for this commission, which would require, you can have the discussion of whether or not you're going to have a special meeting. The special meeting would need to occur with 24 hours notice.
Yes, I'm calling
So
for
you
a
could
special
set,
meeting.
so you could set the date.
Place
You
on
could
Wednesday.
set the date for that special meeting. It would need to be 24 hours notice posting. So we'd have to have an agenda and a posting. So we would suggest Thursday would provide that time. And once again, I do want to go back to, as soon as the board, as soon as the commission establishes its duties and responsibilities, whether it takes 1 meeting, 2 meetings, 3 meetings, or 5, is up to the commission. The sooner that it adopts its duties and responsibilities, they can be forwarded to the board for approval. Once you establish your duties and responsibilities, that sets the parameters for what activities you can undertake.
Yeah,
So,
but you are allowed to, I think, as a commission, as a body, you are allowed to essentially organize a special meeting, which I'm calling for to happen on Thursday, this Thursday, which is the 22nd. It could take place at 10 a.m. our regular time, and we can discuss what measures we can take as a commission in regard to the election, and then put a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, noting that even though we have not outlined our full responsibilities, that because of the urgent concerns of where our country is, the tension in our county and even in our region, that we, ultimately would like to take whatever action the commission feels or doesn't feel is necessary. And I think that that would be okay. And the Board of Supervisors can ultimately determine whether that's something they want to support or not. But I think that calling for a special meeting to happen Thursday, October 22nd, in 2 days at 10 a.m., our regular meeting time, to discuss what measures we can take, put a plan together, get that in to the Board of Supervisors by the Friday deadline, so it can be late docketed for Friday night. Then it will be on next Tuesday's agenda, and ultimately the Board of Supervisors can decide how they feel about the commission not having fully established its duties and responsibilities, but still as a full commission coming to a census on a call to action.
So
And I second that, if that's a motion.
So
yes, it is a motion.
And I second it. It was kind of my original point to begin with.
So to the extent the commission wants to hold a special meeting, that can be done scheduled. What the discussion and topic of what you all want to talk about at that meeting, that would need to be discussed at that meeting. You're calling a special meeting to discuss a potential statement that we can agendize. I believe the recommendation was for Thursday at 10 a.m.
That's correct. This is Member Harris. I am calling Member Shane Harris. I'm calling for a special meeting to happen October 22nd in 2 days at 10 a.m. Due to the time frame we have, it's the best date we can pull together. And we will then discuss there what we can or what we will or will not do or whatever we will do. We'll put a recommendation together, and if the full commission agrees, we will forward that recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for a late docket that will be discussed at their Tuesday meeting. So yes,
Commissioner Harris, could you clarify, while we have the date and the time, can you specify what the agenda item for discussion is?
the agenda item for discussion is emergency, because I'm going to pull out the language of discussion about what to do about the election or some of the things we talked about, because I don't think I could technically do that. So I'll introduce a motion asking for a special emergency meeting to happen Thursday between commission members to discuss an emergency.
Immediate peril.
Or however we can language that at the end.
And I second it.
We have clarification from our Deputy County Counsel, or Chief Deputy County Counsel, Rachel Witt. One moment, please.
I just wanted to clarify, because I think there's some confusing. I just wanted to clarify that the commission would be able to meet on the 22nd at 10 a.m. We would notice a special meeting under the Brown Act. The agenda item would be for the commission to make a statement related to the upcoming election. And that then statement could be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors should the commission come up with a statement. But I did want to clarify with you two things. There would be the caveat that in the recognition that the commission has not yet established its duties and responsibilities, but is nonetheless bringing forth a statement. And that too, even though you're submitting the statement, and I know you want to do it before the Board of Supervisors meeting, the board has already established its agenda, so it would be able to, other than receive communications, just like all communications the board receives, would not be able to take any action at the meeting on Tuesday.
Okay, so my understanding was that it could be late docketed Friday morning, but I believe a supervisor, Rachel, could actually take up an item on Friday morning. Is that not
I'm
correct?
simply providing you what staff would be able to do. And so those are, the docket closing was already Monday. And so staff would not be able to do anything other than forward the commission statement through a public communication.
So you're telling me that staff of the Human Relations Commission cannot late docket an item at all? That's hard to believe, but is that what you're telling me?
What I'm trying to explain is that from a staff standpoint, the staff would not be able to docket anything for the board,
And why?
consideration.
I'm sorry, I can't hear. Can you guys speak up?
I'm sorry, my microphone is having some problems.
Okay.
All I'm trying to say, Commissioner Harris, is that the board has established rules, the county has established rules for county staff with regard to docketing items, and for staff to be able to docket something before the Board of Supervisors, that date has passed. There may be other avenues that the board, the commission could take, but those are not something that would reside with staff.
Okay, what are those other avenues?
Right.
Rachel.
So in regards to agendizing an item for the special meeting, that would be something something that we could meet on Thursday. To the extent the chair or another supervisor wanted to late docket something, they could do so. What I would suggest is if the commission wants to establish its meeting for a special meeting on Thursday, it could do that. In regards to a late docket, that would need to be a supervisor who would, somebody from the Board of Supervisors who would do that. The chair could do that. But for purposes of discussing the special meeting, I think we're getting far afield from what was on the agenda. There's a motion and a second to establish or to set a special meeting for Thursday at 10 a.m. to discuss a possible statement by the commission regarding the election. We can take a vote on that motion to set that special meeting, and we will agendize it for that time. And then the commission can meet on that. But we did
Claudia,
also.
Hold up. Claudia, there are 3 hands up. I see.
Correct.
Commissioner Watson, Commissioner Taylor, and Commissioner Roberts. So
Yes.
we've already we've had 2 motions on the table. Now, now we're going into discussion, correct?
Correct. I'm aware of 1 motion on the table for the special meeting.
Okay.
And then you're correct. We had members Arton, Taylor, Roberts, and Morones.
I just noticed their hands are down except Commissioner Roberts. So I don't know what that means. But Commissioner Roberts?
I would absolutely support having a special meeting on Thursday to further discuss this issue and figure out whatever avenues we have to forward it to the Board of Supervisors as a possible late addition to the docket. And I will also volunteer to carry that to my supervisor appointee that is an attempt.
Thank you. Commissioner Harris?
I believe it was we had Commissioner Arton and Taylor and Morones previously listed. Yeah. Are they still interested in speaking?
Claudia, my question was answered. Thank you.
Thank you.
One of my questions was answered by counsel. However, I just wanted to say, as somebody who's dealt with tension and trauma in our communities for over 2 decades, it's important that we be proactive like our commissioners have an interest in doing, but also we make sure that we're able to provide follow-up. Because with this topic, it's a huge topic where people are scared to leave their homes, especially as somebody living in District 2, where we have defend East County. But I'm just not sure. Maybe we'll discuss this on the call Thursday if the motion passes. But it's important to make sure we're not causing more trauma, because what keeps happening in the community as a mental health provider, people are saying, I went to a rally, I went to a protest, and then I have nobody to talk to. We need additional resources to make sure we're not causing additional harm. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Okay. So we had Commission Member Morones. Did you have anything further to add regarding the, did you want to speak on the motion on the table?
I just call for the vote.
We'll take the vote on the motion is to set October 22nd.
Claudia, this is Member Harris. I had my hand raised. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, okay.
So I'd like to introduce a revised motion to my original motion earlier. I would like to move that, and this is Member Shane Harris. I would like to move that the San Diego County Human Relations Commission meets on Thursday, October 22nd to discuss potential action we'll take regarding the election. And I add the action piece because I think that a press conference is one thing, but action is another. And I think that we certainly do need a plan, to Commission Member Taylor's point, for follow-up to the press conference.
So you, Member Harris, I believe you said you're revising your motion so you can discuss potential action it will take regarding, Commission could take regarding the election. So whether that's a statement or something else, you all could have that dialogue on Thursday. You have a second of that
Correct.
motion. Is the second amenable to the revision?
Yeah, I don't see much difference. I call for the vote. I agree with that.
Okay.
Can we also add date, not Thursday, but the exact date, October 22nd, whatever date it is?
10 a.m. is it?
Yes.
So the motion that we're taking the vote on is to set a special meeting October 22nd at 10 a.m. to discuss potential action the Commission to take regarding the election. They called the vote. Okay, we've called the vote. There's a call for the vote, so we will now be taking that vote. Angel Ortiz?
Yes.
Eleanor Evans?
Yes.
Elena Perez?
Yes.
Ellen Nash?
Yes.
Enrique Morones?
Yes.
Estela de los Rios?
Yes.
George Corey?
Yes.
Gina Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
Griselda Ramirez?
Yes.
Gwen Sanders? Is Ms. Sanders unmuted? Gwen Sanders?
I don't think she's on the call, on.
Oh, she on? Did she drop? Okay. Kate Chasen?
Yes.
Kate Clark?
Yes.
Kenya Taylor?
Yes.
Norma Chavez Peterson? Oh, she had to leave. Pedro Anaya?
Aye.
Rashid Essa? Rashid Essa?
Yes.
Ryan Garcia?
Yes.
Samuel Choi?
Yes.
Shane Harris?
Yes, then I also have my hand raised.
Taha Hassan?
Yes.
Tammy Gillies? Tammy Gillies? She's done. Vince Catula?
I have some questions. Is now the right time to ask those questions before I vote?
We're in the middle of the vote. The vote was called.
Okay, I abstain.
Warsan Artan.
Yes.
The motion carries with 19 in favor and 1 abstention. Okay, we had 2 hands raised. One was Member Corey, Member Harris, and I believe Member Katula had a question too.
Okay.
Okay, is it Corey?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, a couple of things. Now, a question and then a motion. My question to you is, if the Board of Supervisors do not act and don't allow it to go on the docket, there are many of us that represent organizations that are community-based organizations. Is there anything in Robert's rule, in Brown's rule, or any rule that would stand against us getting together with our own press release?
Your current bylaws, as individual members, unless there is the authority established by the commission, cannot speak for the commission. That is under the current bylaws.
We will not speak in the name of the commission. We will speak in the name of our own organizations.
Well, certainly as individual organizations, the commission doesn't have jurisdiction or authority to control what individual organizations do, and they could choose to do that, certainly.
Excellent, excellent. Then also I would like to add another motion with regards to the duties and responsibilities, forming a subcommittee to prepare something for the rest of the team to brainstorm and review and finalize in our next meeting, or at least to discuss. Because right now, you know, we're already there and we have talked very little about duties and responsibilities.
Certainly you could the commission could establish a subcommittee to come up with proposed, but we do need, there was a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Oh, and how many members were you asking for on that subcommittee?
Whoever is, you know, a minimum of 5 if possible, or more if there are more.
And there was a second, that was by, the motion was by Member Corey, and the second was, I believe, by Member Roberts, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So motion to establish a subcommittee for bylaws of at least 5 members.
No, not a bylaws of duties and
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. For duties and responsibilities. So sorry. Of at least 5 members.
I'd like to call a question.
Question?
I said I'd like to call the question.
Call for the question?
Before our meeting's over.
So we'll call that, we will take the vote on that motion to establish the subcommittee for duties and responsibilities of at least 5 members. Angel Ortiz?
Yes.
Eleanor Evans?
Yes.
Elena Perez?
Yes.
Ellen Nash?
Yes.
Enrique Morones?
Yes, and I'll serve on that.
Estela de los Rios?
Yes.
George Corey?
Yes.
Gina Roberts?
Yes, ma'am. And I'd like to volunteer too.
Griselda Ramirez?
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that a yes, Ms. Ramirez?
Yes.
Gwen Sanders? Kate Chasen?
Yes.
Kate Clark?
Yes.
Kenya Taylor?
Yes.
Norma, Pedro Anaya?
Yes.
Pedro, Rashid Essa?
Yes.
Ryan Garcia?
Yes.
Samuel Choi?
Yes.
Shane Harris?
Hi, Shane.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd like.
Taha Hassan?
Yes.
Tammy Gillies? Vince Catula?
Yes.
Warsan Artan?
Yes.
That concludes the vote. It was unanimous. All in favor. So we have 5 minutes left. So there was, the motion was to establish a committee of at least 5 members. There were a couple folks who indicated they may be interested.
I would like to add my name, George Corey.
Can I be added as well, Claudia? Thank you.
At the special.
Myself included too, Claudia Stella de los Rios.
Wait, if ever could,
Raise
one
your
moment.
hand.
Yeah, one moment, please. If we could just for a moment take a pause for a quick second.
Let's see.
You're stressing them out.
Where am I?
Estella, good luck.
Thank you.
So we're going to lower everybody's hands so that we have the clarity of if people could use the raise hand function.
Ooh, I can't find it.
Is it not on your?
It's not available for everybody. A lot of us don't have that function.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
Okay, if you go over
I don't have.
Okay, if you go over your name on the panelist list, if you are online, if you hover over your name under participants, it will give you a raise hand bubble pop up.
That's incorrect. I've done that. The feature is not activated on my account.
Oh, dear.
Neither are neither are the reactions. So that's all I get is under the More tab. I have the option to rename myself, and that's about it.
Ditto.
Yeah, mine too.
It's in the 3 dots at the bottom.
It's not there either.
Can we raise our hand through chat?
You know what, why don't we do a quick roll call to see who is interested in serving on this committee? Mind you that the meeting will be very quick, and for us to have a meeting, it would have to be a quorum of those who are serving on the committee. So we'll take a quick roll call to see who is interested. If you are, just say yes. Angel Ortiz.
What's the name of the committee?
This is the subcommittee for duties and responsibilities.
Oh my goodness. Hey guys. Yeah.
So for those, Angel Ortiz,
Yes.
you're interested in serving?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Eleanor Evans?
Yes.
Elena Perez?
Pass.
Ellen Nash?
Pass.
Enrique Morones?
Yes.
Estela de los Rios?
Yes.
George Corey?
Yes.
Gina Roberts?
Yes, ma'am.
Griselda Ramirez?
Pass.
Gwen Sanders? Oh, jeez. Kate Chasen?
Pass.
Kate Clark?
Pass.
Pena Taylor?
Pass.
Pedro Anaya?
Pass.
Rashid Essa?
Pass.
Ryan Garcia?
Pass.
Samuel Choi?
Pass.
Shane Harris?
Yes.
Taha Hassan?
Pass.
Tammy Gillies? Vince Catula?
Pass.
Warsan Arton?
Yes.
That's 8 members on the subcommittee that have volunteered. I don't believe we need a motion if there are no others, and it was at least 5. So we have a subcommittee of 8.
Awesome.
We will send. Yeah. Okay. So we will go ahead, and the subcommittee of 8 will be formed, and we will reach out to you to set up those first meetings so that the subcommittee can return back at the next meeting with some recommendations. Member Arton, did you have your hand raised?
Oh, no. Thanks, Claudia.
I'd like to move that we adjourn the
Hey,
meeting.
Claudia, I've had my hand raised for a while now.
Yeah. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Oh.
Member Harris?
Yes. So I wanted to ask in regard to the meeting happening Thursday, is this a public meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to move that we if staff could develop a flyer of some sort for all of the members of the commission to promote this special meeting. Due to its discussion, I highly recommend that we, have a piece of material that we can promote this special meeting to the public. If you suggest that we just use our, word of mouth or however else you prefer, that's fine. But I do think a special meeting flyer could also help emphasize to the public how important this meeting is, and that we would love to hear their input from the public.
Member Harris, what I would suggest is you all the members of this commission are very well connected throughout the community. Staff prepares those agendas and we would post it. To prepare a flyer in the short amount of time it's really a very short turnaround time.
Understandable.
Right. So given those timeframes, we would ask that the commission members use their extensive networks to the extent they want to share that information. The links and everything, we'll go ahead and get those on the webpage for the Human Relations Commission. The links for the Zoom meeting will be there.
Okay, great. Thank you. And totally understand the time constraint here. So.
Okay. Thank you. It is after 12 o'clock now.
Good. Okay. So the only thing I want to say, and then meeting adjourned, it's important, Claudia, that we have Sheriff Gore and the district attorney attend that Thursday meeting at 10.
We will let them know. I know that unfortunately, sometimes there are other matters that demand their time. I know that the DA had indicated to us that she had a court.
So for the good of the order, we're good, and meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Wait, Claudia. Oh, this is Member Harris.
Meeting adjourned. I have to leave, and I know others have to go. So
okay,
all right.
Thank you all.
I'll see you all on Thursday. Take care.
Thank you all.